Two. All right. I think we're live on YouTube. Let me check the link. But nobody's in here right now, but we'll wait a couple minutes and get some people in here. Let me share the links. You're good. How are you doing today, Kristina?
I'm doing well. How are you doing?
Good, good. Lovely Tuesday. We'll
Yeah, right.
exciting. We got some exciting things coming up very, very soon. Within a couple of days soon. um Going to VidCon. That's gonna be fun. Super excited to meet creators. I've seen some interesting talks, so I'm interested to see what's gonna happen at VidCon.
I'm super excited about VidCon. Yeah, if anyone sees this and they're coming, please let us know. I'd love to meet up.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, I seen some talks um from I mean Jelly Smack. I think they're just an interesting company in this space. So I'm interested to hear like what they're gonna talk about. Um, there's another company I actually just saw on LinkedIn that they are doing a talk. I don't know if it's Gary Vee or somebody, but um, just doing a talk about like how creators like or how like the creator economy is evolving. I think that's always super interesting. That's something we literally talk about at work like all the time. Like, how to keep up with creators, how, are the expectations of creators growing, how the economy for creators, just being a creator is evolving and how we can, be adjacent to that and helping that. So that's gonna be interesting, I think for sure.
Yeah, I'm super excited to see, I think see some of the speakers, also see some of the creators that we're working with, right?
Hmm.
It's like to be able to see people in real life, right?
Yeah.
I think it's going to be awesome.
Yeah, 100%. But all right, let's get started.
Let's
Um, as you can see today, Tuesday session once again. We're here every Tuesday, live and direct. Me and Kristina. Today we're talking about the top three biggest mistakes creators make when working with brands. I have my own brand experience. Worked in an agency setting, worked with a lot of brands, did a lot of brand deals. There's so many things that I noticed young creators were, making mistakes and on the brand side, some things that I wish I would have known, in the beginning stages of making, um, doing these brand deals and orchestrating these brand deals. Um, Christina, love you to introduce yourself and your experience. I know, like, you literally knocked me out of the water in terms of like how much your experience you have working with brands and orchestrating these brand deals.
Yeah, well, uh, it happens when you get old. um, and so no, but yeah, definitely a lot of a lot of experience in this space, particularly because I came from the creator side of things and then actually had, for 6 years worked on the agency side before coming over into Infuse and some of these things and it's funny that a lot of these things aren't super not super surprising, right, in terms of common mistakes creators make, but you'd be surprised how many make them every day, right? Every single day working for an agency, we would run into these situations. And the creators that would do really, really well for themselves are the ones that would quite literally differentiate themselves just by following these things and not making these mistakes. And we would go back to them over and over and over again. There's some creators that I worked with on 12, but dozens of campaigns because they were just so fantastic to work with and made our lives so easy that they were the first ones that we reached out to, right? And the first ones that we gave opportunities to. So I think this is such an important topic because it's something that's so easy to when you're getting caught up and there's obviously so much work that goes into being a creator. It's so easy to forget some of these really important points. And I think as influencer marketing continues to grow, it's going to be such a great way for creators to be able to really differentiate themselves from other creators. So And to give a little intro myself, so I head up influencer strategy for Infuse now, and my role, and I, working closely with Kevin, is making sure that influencers have everything that they need to be successful, right? Whether it's on Infuse or off of Infuse, and whether it's monetization goals, supporting with growing their accounts, providing them value added tools and takeaways so they can be as successful as they can be. Because being a creator, let's face it, it's hard work. And we're here to try to make it as easy as we possibly can.
100%. Me being Discord community manager is making sure we have a great community. We're almost at 800 creators, which is insane to me.
Right.
We were just like at 500, just at 300 a couple of months ago. So it's awesome that our community is growing, and time, like, we just want to continue to provide more resources, more education, put more money in the pockets of creators, because we really are a creator first company, and everything we do, is with creators in mind. And I'm making sure that our community, small yet mighty, is always having the best resources, the best conversations. Whether you're building on Instagram, you're building on YouTube, you're trying to figure out how to transition. If you have no followers, if you have a million, our community is a great space for all creators. So super excited to bring you guys this topic today. We're talking about top 3 biggest mistakes creators make when working with brands. And this is what the agenda looks like. We're going to go over being unprofessional. That is a big, thing that, Kristina and myself notice in terms of working with brands, not reading the brief agreement and really fulfilling the campaign requirements. But we're going to start off our conversation with this first one. And it is, I could be the biggest problem. It definitely can hinder your your company. Every creator to me is a company. It could hinder your ability to make more financial value for yourself, but it's lying. And more specifically, lying about your stats while you're in the vetting process. The brand is vetting you, you're vetting the brand, and trying to figure out whether your partnership is worth it. Lying about your stats is a surefire way to not work with a brand ever again, to be blacklisted from a lot of different brands. There's so many things wrong, and we see it happen a little too often, more often than not, is creators fluffing their stats and lying about their stats. So please, if a brand reaches out to you, or you're about to work with a brand, do not fluff the numbers. Lying about your stats will destroy your relationship with brands, because remember, brands are paying you money on what you say you can do for a brand. Example, I'm going to pay Kristina $1,000 to promote my product. I'm hoping that I make more than $1,000 based on what Kristina has told me. She has an audience of 50,000 people. Theoretically, 50,000 people should see my product. I should make more than $1,000. But if you lie about your audience, or you done thing to hack your audience, lying doesn't have to be, oh, I'm telling you the wrong numbers, but it's buying followers or things like that can manipulate your numbers. The conversion, when we go to make that campaign, the numbers don't convert. Yeah, as a creator, you got all the money, but as the brand, I just lost out on a lot of money, and that campaign is not, it's not going to work for me. So why would I work with you again? And so you definitely do not want to do that. You want to make sure you understand your audience metrics. You want to have an authentic audience. No growth manipulation, no hacks to boost your follower count or boost your engagement. You really need to have an authentic audience. When you're working with the brand, set realistic campaign expectations. If your audience doesn't convert really well, for example, and to kind of take the jargon out of it, if you have 100,000 followers, but your audience doesn't engage with you super often, I think that's something you should communicate with the brand, saying like, I know where my conversion is, but you're still paying for the eyeballs that I could bring. So let's, maybe the number is X versus Y. Maybe there's different ways, different tricks that you can set realistic campaign expectations, even if your audience doesn't convert the way you want it to convert. And the biggest thing that I notice a lot of creators do not do is they take deals that they know will flop. The deal flops, the brand's pissed, they're pissed. And that could have all been avoided by you just walking away from the deal. That doesn't mean you don't want to work with the brand ever again. That just means, let's reassess at a better time. Let
Mhm.
me get my stuff in order before I can really make this worth my while to the brand, because inevitably you make a brand deal work for a brand comes back with more money more frequently, you make more money, you grow your business. It's brand deals are a win-win. So if you need to walk away and say, hey, like, I want to reassess this at a better time, totally okay with doing that. And remember, like, brands have access to stats. Brands, you know, in the last 4 years, 5 years, have there's been a lot of technology that give brands great access in terms of how audience convert, how engaging they are, and so they'll understand, and see very quickly and very clearly whether or not this brand deal was, done in an authentic way, and that you are not lying about your stats. So you this is something you don't want to do. 100%. Christina, what are your thoughts? What do you think?
No, you nailed it. It's so true, and I'm so glad you called out even just buying followers or engagement.
Hmm.
That's all part of the lying about your stats umbrella, right? That's
Hmm.
spot on because I've run into issues where, and sometimes it's not even just buying followers, it's buying engagement, right? Buying likes, or which has become very popular. So we were running a campaign working with a lot of mom influencers at one point, and one of the brand, the advertiser we were working with, some influencers had gone live with content, and the brand, they were so diligent, they looked through every single like that the creator got on their post and noticed that a substantial amount of the likes that they got were from bot or suspicious looking accounts, and flagged it to us and was like, why are these accounts not looking like real people? These don't look like fellow moms engaging. These look like bot accounts. And we realized that they didn't, even though we looked and did all this crazy due diligence on their follower account, they wanted the post to perform well and specifically bought likes on that post. And
Hmm.
the brand caught it and the brand was pissed, right? So we then had to back out of the agreement with the influencer because it was against the agreement. They breached it because they lied about their numbers, and that was part of the agreement deal. And it was super, super messy. And it didn't happen one time, it happened a few times that creators did that. So you are much, much, much better off just, even if you do have a little bit lower performance, having lower performance with an authentic audience. Because to Kevin, your point, the converting numbers will show itself, right? How well they convert or not. So just be true, because a brand much rather work with someone who's trustworthy, has an authentic, organic audience versus someone who's exactly trying to fluff the numbers.
Yeah, 100%.
Next is a big one, is not fulfilling campaign requirements. You'd be surprised how often this one happens. So we'll dig right into it. So in this situation, not only can get you into trouble in two ways. This can get you into trouble with the brand or the agency that you're working with. It can also get you into trouble with the FTC if you're not really paying close attention. And that could also mean money, right? It's like it can be big problems, right? Big problems for you, for the brand, everyone involved, especially if the FTC is involved. Even if a brand does not tell you how to properly disclose a partnership, it is up to you as the creator to understand how to disclose partnerships, because even if they're not following the regulations, you could still get in trouble even if they don't follow them as a creator. So it is your responsibility to know those FTC regulations in and out, and push back on brands that don't want to follow them, because they're putting you at risk as a creator by not listening to FTC regulations. So if you don't see something in a brief and agreement about using a sponsorship disclosure or an ad disclosure or something along those lines, flag it. And if you feel like the brand is being sketchy about it, to Kevin's point, it may be a good opportunity just to walk away from that opportunity. Oh, I think we lost. Oh, there we go. The next is making sure to follow the campaign brief and or agreement, right? There might be situations where you have both. There may be situations where you might be heavily relying on the brief or the agreement. This is super important. Seems obvious, but super important because this will determine how well the campaign goes. Because the brands, app, software, whatever it is, they're putting together this brief and agreement for a specific reason. It's because they want you to follow it, right? Because they know that's going to cause the content to perform well. They also know it's because it's going to cause less reshoots and less work in the future, especially if you do have to submit a draft. If you don't follow the post requirements and the deliverables, they're probably going to make you reshoot, which is going to be even more work for you. So save yourself and the brand some time and follow the brief and agreement and pay very close attention. And also pay attention to if there's anything that you don't love about it. Because if you might want to push back and say, hey, you know what? I don't think that would really work well for my audience. I'd love to try this. Bring that up ahead of time. Don't just make that change and assume they're going to be okay with it, right? But sometimes if you bring that up in a very professional way, you can come to some kind of resolution, and that's great, right? But make sure to notice any things that could be an issue or red flag and bring that up proactively. Now, it's really important to pay attention to these posting requirements deliverables, not just from a draft review standpoint, but for brands wanting to work with you again, because they're constantly thinking, how easy is it for me to work with this creator? Are they following basic instructions, right? If they have to tell you things over and over and over again, if they constantly have to have you reshoot because you're not following the brief and the agreement, if your content's not good, they're probably not going to work with you again. Pretty simple, right? So it's amazing how just following those instructions will make a big difference. Another thing is deadlines. This one is huge, guys. Following deadlines. If it says submit a draft by the 23rd, submit a draft by the 23rd, right? If it says post your content by the 28th, please post your content by the 28th, right? Again, if you need an exception for this, bring it up proactively. Now, stuff happens, life happens. You get sick, kids get sick, something happens, right? Situations happen, just communicate, right? Most of the time, brands, agencies will totally understand if something comes up in your life preventing you from hitting that deadline. But make that exception, right? It's like not necessarily the rule, right? But generally, unless a crazy circumstance comes up, make sure you're adhering to the deadlines. And if you know you can't, before you enter into that agreement, tell them, hey, I can't hit it by this date, but I could hit it by this date. Does that work? If so, let's figure out and revise the agreement based on that date. Great, right? But you'll be surprised how many creators do not follow basic deadlines. And again, it's another way for a brand to decide not to work with you again. And then another thing is compensation structure. Now, you would think as creators, this would be probably the most important part of the agreement. But something, believe it or not, a lot of creators do not read through is how I'm going to be compensated. What is my compensation? How am I going to be compensated? When will I be compensated? Right? Those are very important things to pay attention to, because if you're not aligned with what the compensation structure looks like and you enter into that agreement, you are signing off saying that you are, whether you like it or not, right? So if you're not okay with net 30 payment terms, which I know a lot of brands or agencies do, some of them doing even further out than that, you can't change that once that agreement is signed. And we had many creators reach out to us and say, hey, in my past role when I worked at an agency, I don't like net 30 terms, or I want to get paid right away. I finished my content. Where's my payment? I haven't gotten paid. This is ridiculous. And I would nicely say, did you review your agreement? Right? Because it says it right there in the agreement that we would pay them net 30, right? By doing that, showing A, you didn't read through your agreement, and B, you're not super professional to work with, which we'll dig into in another section. And guess what? They're probably not going to work with you again. If they made it super clear about the payment terms and you're being really rude to them, asking about when you're going to get paid, easy way to prevent for another partnership happening. And then also keep tabs on your email, right? Keep tabs, because sometimes things can change. Sometimes due dates can change. Sometimes deliverables, the brand learns about something that didn't work and they don't want you to make the same mistake and they want to proactively give you a heads up. Keep in touch with them, right? Keep in communication, check your email, make sure that there's no changes before you post or create your content, and stay in close contact with the brand, because it's amazing how these things seem relatively intuitive and simple, but how many creators do make these mistakes. Kevin, anything you would add to that?
No, I think you hit it on the head. I think the number, like these 2 points are like the the number one problem. And we keep saying that, but it really is. It's like there's so many issues that creators get into when they're working with brands, and these are the two easiest ones to slip through the cracks. It's not checking your email constantly and being in open communication with the brand, and it's not reading your agreement all the way, reading the brief all the way, and making a mistake there that could, completely destroy a brand deal. 100%.
Um, Jinx.
Yeah. Jinx. So next, and last is being unprofessional. I think, you know, being a creator it's tough, and there's just certain levels of, privacy that you want as a creator because you got so many people, looking in, and some creators, may have an inflated, ego or what have you. And so, they think that they don't have to respond back quickly, or that, they can kind of work on brands or with brands at their own terms. And it's like brands could work with a lot of different creators, and, they choose to work with you, and that's a professional courtesy. Have the professional courtesy to, you know, operate in a respectful and courteous space when working with a brand. Not trying to be super heavy on like, oh, this is what you should do for the brand, but just being professional never hurt anybody, and being nice never hurt anybody. So make working with a brand easy to work with, because at the end of the day, you make it easier for them to work with you, they're more likely to come back and with more money. And who doesn't want more money? Who doesn't want to exactly who doesn't want a prosperous relationship with a brand where they keep coming back to you, giving you more money every time, and you keep hitting out the park? It's a win-win. Brands want to work with you. So be upfront and honest, be responsive, like we said, to your email, whether it's Slack or Discord, whatever. Stay responsive, stay in constant communication, negotiate professionally. I think this is one thing I definitely notice. Younger creators or emerging creators who might not have representation kind of fall through the cracks. They don't know how to negotiate, or they take negotiation as almost disrespect from the brand, when
Mhm.
really this is just, business. It's, everybody's trying to do everything at the cheapest cost to them. Brands, while still wanting to provide value to creators in, the monetary sense, and give you how much you're worth, they still have a bottom line and a top line that they have to make. So negotiate knowing that brands are looking to make money and you're looking to make money. There's always a middle ground that you guys can meet on. So negotiate professionally, respect timelines. They have timelines, you have timelines. If you're doing everything, if you listen to our last talk, where we're talking about, posting cadence and creating a content calendar, you have your own timeline. So like, respect their timelines. They'll want to respect yours. Set proper expectations going into it. Like I said earlier in the presentation, walk away if you need to walk away. Like, that's totally okay. It's your business. You are a creator, you're a business. It's okay to walk away. And it's definitely professional to set proper expectations with brands, and communicating respectfully, just talking to people and exchanging the way you would want to be exchanged to. Because remember, a lot of another nugget of knowledge here: on influencer marketing platforms, brands can rate you. They can give you a bad rating if you're bad to work with. The same way that, creators kind of exchange information and communication in terms of like the best brands to work with, the brands do that too. And they communicate with each other, whether it's through these influencer marketing platforms or peer to peer during like conferences like VidCon or different events. They know who's good and who's bad to work with. So you don't want a bad rating. You want to stay professional, be professional, helps you make more money. Kristina, anything you want to add?
It's spot on, right? It's amazing how it's can be so easy sometimes to convey not what you're trying to convey in an email, right? So
Mhm.
I've seen creators so many times just be flat out rude in communications, right? And Kevin, exactly to your point, sometimes taking negotiations personally when you're right. It's not personal. It's business to business. It's a it's they have budgets to stick to. You have certain compensation demands that you have, right? Sometimes if you can be really open, honest, and professional and nice about it, sometimes you can even get some wiggle room if you handle it the right way. And then just overall, just being so respectful, being responsive, answering things quickly, and just being nice. And even if you do get frustrated, because let's face it, we all do sometimes, walk away. Walk away, go for a walk. I know, Kevin, you said you do a lot of your best thinking on your walks, right?
Hmm.
Go for a walk and come back, because I can't tell you how many times you want to send an email and you're kind of pissed off and you're becoming a keyboard warrior. And then I go for a walk and I come back and I delete that whole email and I have a whole different mindset about it. And I'll send a way better email that I'm super happy and proud to send. So never send an email mad, even if you are frustrated. And always just think, how is this going to be received by the receiving end of this? Because you may be trying to be super professional and nice, but emails can be tough and it can be easy to misunderstand what someone's trying to say. So smiley faces can be your friend, right? Use those things, exclamation points, right? To try to convey that you're not trying to be rude and trying to be nice, right? Because those little things do make a big difference in terms of strengthening the relationship. All right, and let's wrap it up. So, any questions anyone has, please put them into the chat, YouTube, Discord, wherever you may be. Shoot us any questions. We'd love to answer them. But to quickly recap, one, don't lie about the numbers. It does more harm than good. Don't buy followers, buy engagement. Don't fib your analytics before a partnership, because they will 100% find out. And not only could it make you look bad as a creator, prevent you from getting more opportunities, but it could also sometimes cause you to end an agreement and do all the work that you did for no reason, right? Which you certainly wouldn't want. Don't fumble the bag by not reading your fully reading your brief and your agreement. Right? Read the brief, read the agreement in detail, and follow through on exactly what it says. And you'll be amazed by how happy people will be with working with you. And then last but not least, just professional courtesy always brings the boys back to the yard, right? So just be nice, be a nice person, be a responsive person, be easy to work with. The easier you are to work with, the more people will want to work with you. Kevin, anything to add?
We love the boys in the yard, pretty much. We love the boys in the yard. I think, Infuse is perfect, and we're positioned perfect because, we make it very easy for creators to work with brands. Just off the shelf, deals that they can plug and play. There's not a better platform out there if you don't want to deal with these problems. So, I mean, like you said, everything you said in the recap, 100% makes like your life easier as a creator, working with brands. And if you really want to work with some of the top brands in the world on a performance basis that literally exceeds every other platform, Infuse is the place to be. Best performance based platform, world's top brands. We just launched our beta test in May, and we're always adding to the wait list. So if you're interested in learning how performance based could really get you to the next level in your career, please reach out. 100%. Like, Infuse is where you want to be. um I don't see any questions in the chat, so I think we'll end it there. If you need to connect with us, we're always in the Discord. We're always on social, always at our website at infuseinfluencer.com. It's been me and Kristina and me talking about bringing the boys back to the yard and some great brand deals. Totally. Gotta love it on a Tuesday. Like,
Yeah, Monday, Tuesday, that feels like a Monday.
feels like a Monday. Yeah, I'm like pumped up. I could go for the rest of the week. Like, this is gonna be great.
It's gonna be a long
Um,
week, right? We're working throughout the weekend, so keep
yeah,
that energy high.
yeah, I know. I don't know how far I'm gonna make it, but all right. If you are watching the stream, thank you for tuning in on this Tuesday, lovely Tuesday. We do these info sessions every Tuesday at 4 o'clock, so touch back in with us. I'm Kevin. That is Kristina. We'll see you next week.
Thanks, everyone.
All right.